morning, Chidera. I hope you're well.
I am, thank you. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Today's session is just really to catch up with you, just to give a little insight in what it's like to be a locum doctor.
Okay.
Now, you've been working with me at one of our key clients.
Yes.
For the last, is it nearly a year now? Is that right?
Yeah, it's nearly a year. Yeah, it's been at least nearly 9 months at least. Yeah.
Nice. It's gone so quick. It's been really good working with you.
It has, yeah.
So let's just to start off at the beginning, Chidera. So I know that you come to me originally with a plan set out on where you wanted to go once you'd finish your FY2.
That is
So
correct.
what prompted you to work as a locum doctor?
So I think for me personally, I just always knew that I wanted to take a year out. Partly because I wasn't really sure where I was headed in terms of what's next and specialty training. I also knew that I wasn't going to travel abroad like most people do. And I knew I wanted to stay locally in Manchester. And also there was an opening on the ward where I had finished my last placement of my F2. So everything just really fell into place. And it was really mostly because I wanted to take a year out. Why I decided to do an F3 locum.
Okay, perfect. And do you feel like in the time that you've been doing your FY3 locum, do you feel like that plan has worked for you?
Yeah, I would say definitely yes. I think that where I've been working as an F3, which is an acute medical ward, I've really gained a lot of experience. I've really seen a wide range of like patients, different acute presentations. I've gotten to work with quite a very diverse yet very good team. Consultants, seniors, registrars, junior doctors as well, even new F1s, as well as members of the wider NDT. So I would say yes, it has definitely worked, and I'm quite happy with my plan and my choice.
Good to hear it. And obviously I know you was somebody who came directly to me,
Yeah.
and you had been told about the agency. Why did you choose A&E agency?
To be honest, I had a few agencies on my list. Obviously the main one, because they are the ones that my hospital use as a first line. However, I did have trouble sort of setting up my profile with A&E agency was introduced to me actually by another locum doctor who I had met, who was doing a locum on the ward when I was still in F2. And I would say of the processes of sort of registration, you guys were sort of the most straightforward in terms of confirming my details, confirming my documents. I mean, till now, I've been waiting to hear back from some of the other agencies about, setting up my profile. But with you guys and with yourself, Dale, especially, it was really, really straightforward. Like, I don't think it took up to a month to get everything set up for me to be able to start working. And I think that's why I just made the choice to go with you guys, because you were the most available at the time.
Yeah, thank you for that. I really appreciate all of that feedback, because I remember when you initially did start, and we really did knuckle down and get that compliance done, didn't we?
Yeah.
I remember you giving quite a sharp deadline to me, though, if I remember. It has to be done by certain.
Well, that was because in my F1, F2 training, I was out of sync. So I was bad, to be fair, and I left everything sort of last minute. And when I was realising I was getting to the end of F2 and I didn't have a job in the line yet, I was like, Del, you really need to help me. Can you get this done for me to get started? But yeah, I'm really pleased that, the speed of setting up, getting compliance sorted, and actually being able to start picking shifts. Like I said, I don't think it was up to a month. I think it was a couple of weeks, and you were able to confirm things, because I have peculiar situations with like my right to work that needed confirmation, and with the other agencies, I guess that's why there was a bit of a delay. But with yourself, you were able to get past that, really, really quickly with lightning speed. I feel like you listened to me as well when I told you this is what you needed to do. These are the places you need to go and check to confirm things. And so, yeah, I think that was really, really very impressive from yourself. So thank you.
No, thank you. With that, obviously, I know all of that stuff is important to you. What did you look for in an agency initially?
Initially, I've heard a lot of horror stories about some agencies, about pay and, not getting shifts. So I just really wanted an agency where it wasn't a ghost system where you had no direct contact to people, and it was all, you know, sort of very formal, very, I mean, A&E is very formal, don't get me wrong, you're all very professional, but at the same time I feel like, especially having you, Del, I feel like you had that element of, you know, it almost feels like you're my go-to person. So if I have any problems, if I have anything, I can literally just send you a text or do you an email and say, can you sort this out? And it would be literally sorted. And that was one thing that I was really looking for in an agency. Before working as a doctor, I did work as a HCA, and I have worked with other agencies in that regard. And I know what it's like. It's sometimes a nightmare to try and get shifts sorted, get pay sorted and all of that. But I feel like that was something I was trying to avoid. With yourselves, I feel like I do have that personal touch and that personal note of somebody who I directly liaise with, who is able to help me, able to solve my problems, able to answer my questions. I've never had any problems with pay, and that was one thing that I really didn't want to have to bother about.
Yeah.
Getting paid late. But I've never had any of those problems at all. So yeah, those were the two main things that I was looking out for, and I would say that, yeah, you guys have definitely met expectations in those regards.
Amazing, amazing. And that's all we look to do, you know.
Yeah.
We spoke about this at the very, very start.
Yes,
Me and you, we built a very strong relationship very quickly.
Oh yeah. Do you remember when you used to call me before I set things up? And you'd be like, oh, Dr. Chidera, just chasing up, making sure that, you know, are you still interested in taking locum? And this is way back as at January last year, even. But yeah, I feel like that consistency as well, because when it got to the time when I was actually ready to set things up, you were the person I remembered, because you were the person that was always on top of things, calling me and texting me, and even though I told you that I wasn't looking to pick up any locums until later on in the year, you still just kept in touch, and I feel like that was really good of yourself. Yeah,
me keeping you up to date meant that we did build a strong relationship, and that's gone through the whole of your time with A&E agency. If anything, I think me and you probably talk a little bit too much on WhatsApp.
I agree. Do you know what? I feel like it's nice though to have that kind of person that you're able to go to, because sometimes I finish a night shift at like 12:30, half 10 or 9:30 or whatever, and I'm very bad with like timesheet submissions, and I feel like you've made that rapport so good that I can just literally take a picture after my night shift and just do it to you in an email or send it to you in a WhatsApp, and you can pick it up, you know, in hours, and you know that's quite convenient to have as well, I think. So yeah.
Good. So just in regards to what you're doing at the minute, can you just describe to me what an average day in the life of a locum doctor is?
Okay, so the average day in the life of a locum doctor, I do 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And that is by choice. You can obviously do more days or less days if you wanted to. I choose to do a full 5-day week. So I start at 9 o'clock. I work on the acute medical unit, like I mentioned before. I come on the ward, how it works in my hospital, come on the ward, start the ward round, usually allocated to a certain group of patients, together with either another junior plus a consultant, go through the ward round. At about 11:30, we do like a board round, go through all the patients on the ward, and then we have our breaks, and then the afternoon it's really pretty much chasing up on jobs, and you know, reviewing patients in the afternoon, and possible discharges as well. So essentially job roles are things like ward rounds, you know, some procedures. I have actually been exposed to a lot of procedures during my F3 year, so things like lumbar punctures, aesthetic taps, aesthetic drains. I've really been, you know, placed on a good ward where I do see quite a variety of cases. I do get to review patients, so in an acute setting, I do get to liaise with members of the wider MDT, with other specialties as well. So these are the sort of things that I would be doing in a typical day. And I usually tend to get away, you know, at a good time. It's not, and I think that's one of the joys of locuming, is that you have that much flexibility that you can sort of decide, you know, how often you want to work or how not often you want to work, and you can sort of decide your working hours, because they to me, and they gave me a bit of flexibility in terms of picking what days like I wanted to have off and what hours I wanted to do in terms of, do I want a 9-5, do I want an 8-4, do I want a half 9, half 5? So they were really good to me in terms of that as well. And yeah, and kudos to you guys, of course, for helping me organise all of that.
No problem at all. No problem at all. In regard, just to kind of give a little bit of an insight to somebody who's kind of completely away from locums, are locums looked at any differently to kind of other staff within the hospital, or would you do the same roles?
So we are definitely qualified to do the same roles as everybody else. I know there's a bit of sorry, excuse me. I know there's a bit of worry and concern amongst doctors about, you know, how would people look at me, because there might be some preconceived ideas or stereotypes about locum doctors. Again, I would say I was a bit fortunate because I just stayed on in the same hospital, on the same ward, where I was already known from my F2 placement. So it didn't really, the team already knew me, and I knew, you know, most, if not all of the team. So it wasn't difficult for me in that regard. But I will say that I have seen other locum doctors who have come onto the ward where I work, and I've seen how they've been treated. And I would say, aside from the initial getting to know people, I don't believe that, well, not that I've experienced or not that I've witnessed anyways, that they are treated any differently. I don't believe that they are treated badly. I know that there would be a period of adjustment where perhaps a doctor who's never worked in a hospital before might need to get used to the new systems, might need to get used to the team, might need to get used to the procedural side of things. But I would say that would be the case even if you weren't locum in anyways. If you were in training, doing a rotation to a brand new hospital, nobody's going to expect you to know everything. Nobody's going to expect you to know how things work. So I would say it's not too different, or it's not any different to what you would get if you were in training, moving around anyways. So I think that should definitely not put anybody off locuming if that's what you want to do. And I would certainly encourage it, because I feel like I've benefited from it personally.
Amazing, amazing. And just finally, just before we do kind of wrap it up, because me and you could literally talk all day, Chidera. What advice would you give? What advice would you give to anybody thinking about working as a locum doctor for the A&E agency?
Go for it. You're not going to regret it. Your pay's not going to be late. There's going to be somebody who can answer your questions whenever you have it. It might, even if it's sort of out of hours, there are, you know, avenues to reach out officially to people out of hours for, you know, emergency things like shift cancellations or shift bookings, or problems with timesheet, problems with pay, problems with getting to your shift. I would say definitely go for it. The signing up process, this is a big seller for me, because I left things very late, but I was still able to get signed off, get my e-learning, get everything done in time to start working within less than a month. So I would say definitely go for it. Signing up process is very straightforward, very easy. All of the staff, I mean, I've dealt with yourself a lot, Dale, but I've also spoken to Reagan, and I've spoken to some other people as well. And I get the same sort of vibe from all of you, that you're all very approachable. You all know exactly what you're doing. You're all very competent, and you all listen. And I think that's the most important thing, because I felt like of all the agencies that I applied to, you definitely listened to me when I was trying to direct you on the best way to handle, you know, my signing up and compliance. So yeah, definitely go for it. A&E is the way to go.